Hello, welcome to Family Therapy Podcast. My name is George Chacha. Do not force your marriage. Do not force your marriage through the eye of a needle. You shall not call your parents for reinforcement. You shall not call your partner's parents and relatives for reinforcement. You shall not call your pastor for reinforcement. The strength and solution to your marriage lies inside your heart. It all begins from the time you realize that there is a problem and you summon yourself, summon your partner to a round table meeting, soberly and very respectfully sit down and have a productive dialogue. Welcome to this episode, which seeks to again build the marriage or promote a marriage that is built on mutual respect, on mutual understanding, on mutual love and recognition that you need each other. It is possible that in your marriage, you have reached the close. You have reached the end of the lane. Ahead of you, there is a big sign in red which says halt. I will be talking about marriages that have been on the rocks for 10, 15, maybe even 30 years. 25 years, 30 years of pain, of sadness, so many years of anguish, difficult life. I draw ourselves to a picture of the Israelites during their lives in captivity. There is a song in Psalms, I suppose 137, by the rivers of Babylon. There we sat, there we wept, there we sang. How do we sing sweet songs in a foreign land? In other words, we are talking of a marriage that has been in captivity for up to 30 years, maybe even more. This is the marriage that I'll be talking about, and I challenge the pastors, I challenge the churches, I challenge the religious leaders from all spheres of interfaith to come up and give us a guidance as to how should we handle marriages where partners have been in anguish for 30 years, for 25 years, for 10 years. Till when? For how long? For the Bible says that I will revisit you even in your captivity and I will set you free. Many partners yearn to be free. Many partners yearn for emancipation from both physical and mental slavery. These are the marriages that I'll be talking to. When will you enjoy yourself? When will you have peace? When will you appreciate life again? And therefore, as I'm talking about this marriage, I want let it not be known, let it not be construed to be that I'm encouraging breakups. I stand for family reunion. I stand for family unity. Breakup should only be the utmost resort when all other avenues have failed and the only option is to walk out of captivity. It is at that point that you summon yourself, drift to a quiet place and come up with a strategic plan to face your marriage head on. Any other person called in to intervene at this point will only be diverting the course of a natural river. anyone you consider bringing on board to help you realize positive results will only be imposing. He will be acting or sending you along a path that may not be applicable as per your situation. Therefore, there will be that moment when you certainly realize that things seem not to be working. Don't force the marriage. Don't force yourself. Don't force your partner. On a basis of mutual understanding, and when you drift back home, summon your partner in a quiet, maybe it could be in the quiet of the night. Sit down, one-on-one. Spell out the areas of concern. And like I always say, any given time dialogue is called upon, there shall be ground rules. The ground rule for a productive, positive dialogue is that there shall be mutual respect. Your concern is valid. Your partner's concerns are valid. You shall approach each other soberly with utmost respect, being sensitive to each other. Sensitivity. It is during this time that either you can lose it or make it. Therefore, it is very important that you take into consideration your partner's sensitivity. You shall not revisit things gone by. You shall only focus on what can we do to salvage. But of course, again, for this dialogue, for this round table, or maybe let me call it round bed meeting, the other partner shall also be seeing the need to having this dialogue. The other partner shall also be seeing the need to salvage and reclaim this marriage. I know it becomes a challenge, and quite a big challenge, and unfortunately this is a very common challenge in very many marriages where dialogue is impaired, where only one partner appreciates dialogue, where only one partner sees the need, where only one partner sees a problem that can be amicably resolved. Therefore, even as you tread along this slippery road of trying to win your partner one way or the other, you shall do it bearing in mind that you are walking into an emotional battle. You are walking into a negotiation atmosphere. And in a negotiation, there are two things. Either you might have it your way or you might have it the other way. Do not walk in there with a fixed mind that it must go your way. Do not walk there with a fixed mind, a formed opinion that you must win. Because, again, the decision, the outcome of this dialogue, by and large, depends on the reaction, on the response, and the understanding of your partner. And when you shall be at that table, when you shall be at that bed as you're trying to negotiate about this, bring out appreciating only the positive things that you people have achieved over the period of time. It could be 15, 18, 20, 25 years. You shall appreciate the coming into each other's lives, because you made it voluntarily out of your own choice. You shall remember the great moments of your marriage. You shall remember the great moment with your children together, even as they were growing up. You shall remember all the positive things. And somewhere down the conversation again, you shall apologize for those failures that you may have done to your partner. In every conflict, there is someone who contributed. And there can never be a conflict situation where only one person contributed the conflict. Both parties were involved, like it is said in the peace studies. It takes two to realize conflict. One person, there cannot be conflict. And therefore, it will be important for you to very soberly bring out important issues in line with what can we do different? Do we stand a chance? Do not expect an immediate positive answer on that first day. You shall discuss in a very respectful atmosphere, in a very quiet, sober mood. And should your partner ask you for a few days to think about it, don't rush him or don't rush her. Give it time. Because again, remember, everyone's perspective is valid. Everyone's perspective or concern is valid and will always be valid to that person. One of the ground rules when negotiating and maybe discussing, sharing about this concept, it's always a very, very important principle, is respecting each other's perspective. And therefore, when you are talking about what you want in your marriage, realize that there is also what your partner wants in the same marriage. And your want and his or her want, or that the wants between the two of you, are conflicting. Because again, conflict is a situation of incompatible interest. What I want, you also want. We already have conflict because we are fighting for the same thing but from different perspective. I want to believe that for anyone to have walked into a marriage, he or she had some kind of vision. What did he envisage? What did he or she envisage in the marriage, in the family? And this is exactly what we will be focusing on. When we came together, what was our mission statement? What was our vision of our marriage? There will come a time when we have to fall back to this. Friend, when your partner shall ask for ample time to think about it, don't be in a rush. Allow it. Let it be. And for you who has asked for time to digest, again, it is appropriate and very desirable that you take the shortest time possible and come up with a solution that you feel in your mind is exactly what you want. Whereas I strive to see reunited marriages built on love and mutual respect and understanding, there are those marriages that almost go beyond the point of redeeming. There are those marriages that have gone beyond, or maybe you can talk of, they are no longer redeemable. It is at that point that you sit and say, my beloved Mama so and so or Baba so and so, we have come to a critical point where in my conscience, where in my mind, in my heart, I feel that this marriage will not hold. I have reasons to feel that maybe this marriage has come to a point where we may never go back to the point in time. In a very sober, clear, and respectful way, bring out the issues for dialogue and debate. Discuss even the cost, what do we call it? The responsibilities. Discuss about what you stand to lose, what it is that it has stake, very soberly. Because again, friends, you have been friends. You are friends, and you must even part as friends. It is during those moments that issues on how you can amicably separate should be discussed. And the other partner who had sought for reconciliation, for redeeming the marriage, if the consequence or the answer from your partner has come in complete contrast to your expectation, be calm. Be calm, because by being violent and by throwing tantrums could make a bad situation worse. Sleep over it. Maybe after 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 days, again revisit the issue, and this time around it should be with the interest and well-being of the children. They will come to that point when there will be a lot of give and take. The interest of the children, the well-being of the children, no matter how old, should always be given precedent. We must always bear in mind that by and large, mental health in children has emanated from the marital conflict of the parents. Even though our children may not talk about it, they may not voice their concerns, they may never have raised an issue about the conflict, but the effects and the impact, in this case negative effect, negative impact, bordering on mental health on the very children you love, is enormous. And therefore it would be important to very soberly approach this issue, discuss on how best you are going to co-parent. At this point, the main thing of discussion is co-parenting. You don't need to go to children's court. You do not need to go to a court to get a divorce, a nullification, or a whatever. I believe the two of you who voluntarily came together as two adults of sound mind can also separate as two adults of sound mind. Let us avoid selfish interest. I know in many marriages there will always be a partner who wants to get more than the other, and to the man, beginning with the man for instance, the woman who has lived with you for 10, 15, maybe even 30 years has been serving you appropriately for all that duration, and therefore it is only logical that she does not walk empty-handed. We are told that even Jacob, when he worked for his uncle for 7 years and later on another 7 years, he never walked out empty-handed. He walked out with wealth. It is highly advisable that for their peace to prevail and for the welfare and the good of the children, the parties in conflict, the partners, the spouses, have to very clearly, soberly, without being selfish, discuss as to how they can divide the family property, the family wealth. Both parties are entitled to the family wealth. It may be 50-50, or it may be maybe by a certain percentage. But again, the agreement is between the two of you. Lady, you don't need to go to the children's court for child support. If you handle this soberly, every man will feel bound to support his own children. Where should the children be? That can also be an issue of discussion. Where will the interest of the children be best? Again, do not try to claim custody of the children as a way of punishing your partner. There should never be any punishment when you have reached to a point where you feel you have to resolve. It is highly encouraged that even after separation, after divorce, either of you can visit the children without any restriction. Be with the children, take the children out. Caution: at whatever time you shall be with those children, for heaven's sake, do not plant the seed of negativity in the hearts of your children. Do not try to exaggerate the weakness or the badness of their other parent, because by so doing, you are building and creating a bitter group of children. Children who would be bitter, children who would be full of resentment, children who will build their future lives on lies as peddled by one of their parents. Friend, let us not force things. Let us not force the marriage. If the conflict is too big for the eye of the needle, don't force it. Call for a dialogue between you and your partner, between the two of you and your children. Amicably agree on the best exit strategy. How best can you part? You end up being friends. That even at some point you can meet, hold a kind of a meeting together with your children and discuss about their future, share their concerns. There is no replacement for a father in the children of their life. There is no replacement for a mother in the lives of the children. And therefore, it's important to recognize and appreciate there are those things in life which we can never undo. You cannot undo your partner from being a parent to those children. Never. It is less burdensome to make peace than to make war. Otherwise, thank you for watching this channel, and again I call on you to click the like button, subscribe to this channel, and click the bell so that you will constantly get any new upload of episodes coming online. Now, thank you for watching. My number is on the screen. Let us have a live debate, a live discussion, and also I'd love to hear, inbox me like your perspective on what I have said, and add to the debate, because your comment could go down to helping a family, to helping someone somewhere. Thank you, and God bless you.